All right, y'all, what's going on? It's Combo Breaker 99. I'm back with another post-fight discussion video. All right, y'all, Natalia Silva versus Tereza Bleda. Man, Natalia Silva, she went in here and she showed up and showed out on Tereza Bleda. Something was telling me this fight was going to be crazy. That's why I couldn't even make a pick. I didn't even want to make a pick. When I first heard this fight was announced, I said, you know what? No prediction. I'm going to just sit back, see how this thing plays out. I want to see what Bleda can do. I want to see what Silva can do. Because as much as I wanted to see Tereza Bleda get into the UFC, something about Silva's style was all wrong for Bleda. I kept saying that to myself. You know, Silva, she's been looking like a totally different fighter since she's got into the UFC. Go back and watch at least like 3 or 4 of her fights pre-UFC, and then come back and watch the Bleda fight and then the Jazzy fight. You'll be like, wow, man, this girl, she's done a 180. I mean, the speed, stand up, the takedown defense, all of this has just been polished up, and all of it was just too much for Tereza Bleda. I mean, in this fight, Tereza Bleda, she really showed a lot of holes in her game, including her control on the ground. Like, she really struggled in this fight, even keeping Silva on the ground. Like, just getting the fight. Well, first off, just getting the fight to the ground was a struggle. It was a struggle. And then when she did get it down, Silva was just too strong and too quick with it and defending even the submission attempt that it just wore down on Bleda. Just trying to keep her down and keep that top control and win the round really took a lot of energy out of Bleda. Then you got to look at the striking alone. Like, Silva's striking selection was just too much for Bleda. Leg kicks, head, body, head, just the combos upstairs were really ripping into Bleda and tearing her down, man. Like, put that together with her just really pushing to get the fight to the ground, just using a lot of energy and the lack of defense, just taking a lot of shots up top. Put all that together, it's definitely going to lead to a stoppage. And I felt like the stoppage was going to come in the second round when I saw her take these big right hand, left foot combinations, but she withstood it. She was exhausted. When it got into that third round, I said, here it comes. Because she's really tired. You could see it in her face that she was really exhausted, you know, just putting up with the stand-up and just really trying to get the fight to the ground. But Silva's takedown defense was just too much for her. Then perfect timing from Natalia Silva with that spin kick to the chest and to the throat, put her down, and she was done. She was done. I mean, man, that fight, it was brutal. It was brutal, man. It was a brutal clinic for Bleda. I hated for her to have to come into the UFC for a first fight and take on the type of style that, you know, Natalia Silva presents. But I'll talk about that here in a minute. Going back and looking at the first round, right away in the first round, hand speed and speed in general was obvious. You know, Silva had no issues getting by the reach and the height of Tereza Bleda. That's why I always say the taller the fighter is, the longer the fighter is. I'm not really going to call it an advantage unless they know how to use it. You know, Natalia Silva was just too quick. She was first with her strikes. Even whenever Bleda did fire off like one jab, Silva, she would come back, crack her with a good two-punch combination. And in the first minute of the round, you'll see Silva try for that spin kick that you'll see in the third round that did knock her out. You'll see her try for that spin kick already. That's something that it really looks like they were training for, because Bleda, when she drops a level, you know, her head is wide open. So if you can time that spin kick right, it will land right there in the face or right there in the chest and catch her good. But the first time around, it didn't land as well, you know, so she'll revisit that later. But in the clinch, Bleda, she kept a tight hold on Silva, but Silva was just so active and moving and turning and even just fighting for her own underhooks. It was really making Bleda work on the cage. You know, Silva actually takes Bleda down herself with that momentum and then goes right back to stand up, just moving Bleda around, just wearing on Bleda. You know, Bleda's legs are moving. You know, she's really exerting herself here. And Silva gets another judo toss of her own, but Bleda, she lands on top. And I think Bleda wins the round. I thought Bleda won the round with the top control and the triangle choke attempt, but the momentum was really going in favor of Silva at this point, because Silva was just defending well off of her back and she fought off the choke. And, you know, that was really wearing on the legs of Bleda as she was trying to get that triangle choke early on. That just shows you how strong Silva is with her takedown defense, even her counter grappling. So I gave the round to Bleda, but I thought that Silva, her momentum was really starting to pick up here. Going into the second round, Silva in the opening minute, measuring range well, you know, and it was impressive as the shorter fighter how she was doing this, that she was controlling the fight from the outside. She snapped Bleda's head back with a good right hand, a good hard right hand, left foot combination. And right there, that kind of woke up Bleda and let her know that we got to change something. But what? What are we going to change? We don't have the striking. You know, we didn't prepare for this. You could see it in her face that they didn't prepare for this, that she was kind of like just huffing and puffing now. And you could see it in her eyes that this is all we can do, is we can just run in and we can try to take this fight to the ground. But how do we do that? You know, you can see that she wasn't prepared for this. She lacked the timing and the jab to handle the striking of Silva. Like if she could time a good long jab, she could have kept the shorter fighter on the outside, but they just didn't have that. You know, Silva just kept stuffing those takedowns, which was also frustrating Bleda. You know, being this big and this long and not being able to control Silva was really frustrating her because, you know, Silva, when she was in the clinch, you know, she was just moving Bleda around, pinning her up against the cage herself, just making these, you know, reversals. Silva's right hand and left foot combination just jarring Bleda. It was really a clinic, man. It was really a clinic in striking and takedown defense. It was like takedown defense 101. You know, Silva just sticking these straight strikes down the pipe, stuffing Bleda's head down and really just putting the weight on her back to tire her out. Silva almost had Bleda out in this second round as well with those stiff right hands because she cracked her again with a good two-punch combination from the southpaw stance. You know, she hit her with that straight left hand with more power. And, man, you could just see the damage being done even mentally to Bleda at this point in this fight. That's why I was like, oh, man, this is just too much solid work from Silva. The stoppage is coming, you know, because she just does not know how to keep her hands up. And since her game is not working, she doesn't know what to do. The third and final round, Silva was ready to put the stamp on it. And I could see it. I knew a stoppage or finish was coming. Silva, she was going after it with the pressure now, just really putting that timing together, you know, measuring that range. She got into the clinch a little bit more to wear Bleda down. Bleda's body language at this point, it was just bad because I saw her like throw this like little low kick where she just almost kind of fell off balance. So Silva, she was just letting it play out. She rocked Bleda with a 4-punch combination. And then finally going back to what we saw in the first round, she set up that spin kick nicely as Bleda drops a level. Boom, she catches her. She eats it right to the chest and to the neck. Silva follows up. She steps in, cracks her with the right hand, knocks her mouthpiece out, lays her out. Referee steps in. That is it. Wow. I was like, wow, man, this was crazy, man. I did not see it playing out exactly like this. I thought Bleda would have had more moments on the ground or would showcase more strength. But Natalia Silva just had everything covered. She had everything covered in this fight. It was crazy, man. But yeah, Tereza Bleda, I still think she's a good fighter, but, you know, her being young and her being still somewhat green, I think that, you know, she needed a couple of easier fights, you know, fights that kind of play more into her style in the UFC. And, you know, I still think that she does have a lot going for her, but this was just a bad style matchup for her. You know, I think there's always bad style matchups for a lot of fighters in the game, aside from Valentina, you know, somebody who has everything covered. But, you know, it just plays out that way. I still think she's a good fighter. I don't think I overhyped her. I think there's just things that she needs to work on. And number one is her defense. You know, she's got to have that defense down. You know, her defense and her jab. You know, she needs to work a good jab because that's going to be one of the ways on how she gets these takedowns. If she can knock fighters off balance with a good jab, she can strike her way in and get fights to the ground instead of just doing these predictable level drops, you know, because Natalia Silva had no problem timing those level changes, you know, with spin kicks or just counter defense, you know, takedown defense. So there's still a lot of things that Tereza Bleda needs to work on. You know, she needs a good striking coach that can help her translate her footwork over and help her become a little bit more unpredictable. You know, she just moves so slow in there. And Natalia Silva just really exposed a lot of holes in her game. From here, I think, you know, she can still get some wins. You know, she needs to get some work, get the right coaches, like I said, to help her work on her striking. As for Natalia Silva, though, man, like, really, man, I don't see anybody with that type of striking IQ in the division. I mean, there's some good strikers, of course, like Alexa Grasso. You know, she's good. Of course, the champ is good. Manon, Caitlin Chikagan. But on this lower level, and even kind of at that higher level, I don't see anybody with this type of striking selection. Because, you know, with Chikagan, she has a high IQ with her footwork and just how she can throw combinations. But the pop on Natalia Silva shots is very impressive. Like, the pop and the striking selection is just something I haven't seen before from anybody in this division, you know. So I want to see it tested a little bit more against maybe another striker and a couple more big fighters. Then I'm going to tell you, hey, this girl might be the truth. This girl really might be the truth in this division that might be on her way up. Even with her size, she could possibly be at 115. I don't know, you know, but we'll see. I want to see how far she can get here at 125 because I can see her lighting up a lot of fighters like a Casey O'Neill. possibly even Erin Blanchfield. Like, if Erin can't get her to the ground, it's going to be a tough fight. Right now I still kind of favor Erin because she is very strong, and her jiu-jitsu is always solid. And like I said, she's been doing this for a long time. But hey, Natalia Silva, hey, look how far she's come. You look at how far she's come, man. So I'm really excited to see what she can do now. I might have to put her in the quadruple threat, rotate somebody out, put her in now, because what she's bringing to the table now, after beating two big grapplers and just being able to handle their size and strength, is really impressive. It really is. And I want to see what she can do now against maybe like top 15, maybe a 13, 14, 15, or maybe we'll do one more unranked fight. We don't have to be stingy, but she's really looking like a solid threat to the flyweight division right now, man, if she could just keep this momentum going. As for Bleda, let's get to work in. Let's see what she can do from here. Maybe a Montana De La Rosa or Jazzy Vicious for herself. Just really needs to work on her defense, though, man. Like, you can't be taking shots like this. You just can't. Not in this division. Not if you want to fight the champion one day. Like, you really have to work on that type of discipline. It can't just all be, I want to pull this fighter to the ground, this grappling. You cannot be one-dimensional now. All one-dimensional fighters, they tend to be unranked. Okay, you got to work on your game. You got to focus on defense in this game, man. But yeah, final thoughts though. I still rock with Tereza Bleda, definitely, man. I know most of y'all are saying, look at that, I told you so. You overhyped her. Hell, hey, I didn't overhype Tyler Santos, which y'all didn't give me credit on that, right? I didn't overhype Manon, and look, she's number 1. Not overhyping Erin Blanchfield, she's number 10, right? So, hey, y'all can give me this one. And I still believe in her as a fighter. She's only 20 years old. She's only 20 years old. She was undefeated before she took this L, right? So somebody that racked up that many wins, even at 20 years old, that's showing they got some promise, right? And not everything is perfect. Zhang Weili lost her first fight. Chris Cyborg lost her first fight. Say, hey, I still think this girl can do it. She just needs to get with the right people, get right striking coach, work on the defense. Hey, we'll see what happens, right? Let me know, guys, what y'all think in the comments section. Natalia Silva, what's next for her? Do you see her lighting up some of these lower level flyweights? Let's talk about it in another video, maybe. Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.